Launch, everybody. Another Commerce Over Crack episode here at ReRaw, right outside of Mandalay Bay, where Shop Talk 2026 is underway. Here with Ben from Channable. How you doing, Ben?
Very good. Good to see you again.
Good. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, of course.
Look forward to our chat. Share with the audience, while I fumble on my green foam top hat, share with the audience a little bit about Channable.
Yeah, sure thing. So Channable helps you take all of your product data. We take all your products from Shopify or whatever storefront you're using, and we optimize those and send them out to over 3,500 different channels worldwide. Mostly, we have a lot of Google, Meta,
Yep.
Pinterest, even Walmart, Amazon are our main channels, but also do a bit now with ChatGPT and some of the agentic channels as well.
Which I imagine we'll talk a little further about.
Yeah. We have to say agentic.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not a good podcast.
Right. Everybody drink if you don't say agentic.
Yeah, there we go.
Great rundown. Channable's a great team to work with. Really enjoy working with you and your squad over there. A lot of fun over the years and a lot of good work together too. So thank you for that. Let's start at the top level. What are some of the topics that you're hearing discussed most here at Shop Talk and leading into Shop Talk? And I think you probably already touched on one.
Yeah, I think for us, a lot of it is just the data side of the business now, with product data being so important for how LLMs discover your product, right? And it's kind of regardless if you think agentic commerce or checkout or whatnot, there's a discoverability mode. But we're also finding in our own products that the quality of your product data is really going to enable you to use AI and LLMs in things like title optimization, marketing, and other things like that. Because without that quality product data, the rest of the down funnel marketing just starts to break down at the LLM level. So
yeah, I think there's gold in what you just shared. And one of the things that I appreciate about how you answered is literally every person in Commerce Over Crack episodes so far this year, every guest has answered that question, that top of the funnel question with AI.
Yeah.
But you're the first to carve it a little more specifically into the data piece. And I find that refreshing in general, because AI has matured over the last few years from being a frothy, jazz handsy kind of topic to starting to discuss the structured data aspects to it. Now agentic commerce is a big topic, but I think that structured data is the most tangible part of AI and its effect on e-commerce so far.
Yeah, agreed. I think we're excited for it. We think there's a lot you could do with it. I think there's just a lot of open questions about, how do you even manage it? Where does the governance layer live? How do you deploy it within an organization? I heard today somebody was talking about they vibe coded their own app and they had 3 apps running, and then you start to think about, well, what's the implication of that for the rest of your business as you try to manage that and you try to bring that in-house? I think there's a lot of questions that are going to come up from that as well. So
yeah, I think that the comment you just made about the multiple agents, and what data are they going to create, and what kind of shape is that data going to be in? Because one of the sort of interesting angles around AI's maturation over the last few years is meet the new boss, same as the old boss. In the sense of how it's revealed that long held, commonly known best practices are more important now than ever. The agentic audits that we've done for our customers to then enable them for discovery have really revealed that the better shape their data was in for SEO purposes, not even AEO or GEO or XEO, depending on what analogy you want to use, but just the better shape that their data was in, the better prepared they were for feed management across channels, the more enabled they were for agentic commerce, particularly discovery.
Yeah, I think it may be a wake-up call. I mean, I think, if you hear today, if you went back 5-10 years ago and somebody said, oh, you need to have your data all in one location, it needs to be well organized, it needs to be the same across the business, you'd say, yeah, of course it needs to be that way. But now it's even bigger, because as humans we can kind of make up for some of the gaps, but an agent's going to pull what it sees, it's going to try to reconcile, and it's going to be really hard to define what's real and what's not if you don't have your data set the right way.
That's great. So. On point, Ben. So speaking collectively for those of us in the ecosystem, tech partners, SIs, platforms, fill in the blank, the ecosystem, what do you think we can do to help merchants win in today and tomorrow's e-commerce? What can we do to help them grow their revenue, operate more profitably? How can we help them win?
Yeah, I think, technically speaking, there's a lot of different levers you can pull. I think just holistically, though, is just starting to realize that maybe there isn't this panacea around AI and what it's going to do for the industry. I like to think of like how my parents buy and how my friends buy and those types of things, right? And the idea is we all get together and we all talk about agentic and AI and everything else. But when I go to my parents' house, they're not using ChatGPT.
Yeah.
They're excited about AI mode, but they're still buying the same way they are. They're still getting new discovery out of it as well. So I think we have to be realistic as an industry on like what the discovery component and the consumer side of this is versus what we can actually enable within the techs that are going to help these companies run commerce businesses. Because at the end of the day, commerce is not just the transaction, it's everything else that's leading up to that transaction, which I think the ecosystem enables across the board.
Right. Yeah, I think that you make a really valid point there, because agentic commerce is the phrase that's used, and I think people default to considering that as checkout,
yeah,
and overlook the importance and much more rapid adoption of discovery. Right. Like, I think if I'm a merchant, I want to make sure I'm being found on ChatGPT right now. I'm not all that concerned about being able to check out on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Right. I want to be found, and I want to drive people to my site so that then I can leverage my loyalty program, so I can leverage my upsell and cross sell, so that I can provide a trusted checkout to our customers. And I think that too often the two are lumped together when people refer to agentic commerce.
Right.
And so I think that I would echo the point that you made that prompted that in my mind anyway.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that was actually one of the things that was mostly overlooked on the ChatGPT checkout side, was that they were going to own the customer, right? And then you start, what's the downstream impact on your ability to remarket and email and those types of things. I think once that started to come out, people would kind of understand that, hey, maybe that's not the best thing for my business, because I still want to own the customer myself. So.
Yeah, this is a bit of a sidetracked rabbit hole I'm about to go down, but 6 months ago or so, I was on a panel talking about checkout on ChatGPT, and I said, I'm not so sure it's going to be as widely adopted as people think, because if I'm a merchant, if I'm a brand, I've invested in brand equity. I don't want to abdicate that to ChatGPT. I want to be able to protect some of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a part of it. I'm not saying I was on point for predicting everything, but I think that's the reason.
You can take credit.
It was all me.
You should take credit.
It was all me. So last thing, paint a picture of what you think e-commerce looks like in 3 to 5 years.
I think it'll be largely, kind of the same as where we are. I mean, the reason I think that is I think of as an agent almost as a digital twin of as an individual as they start to develop, right? And so I think in e-commerce, you're just going to have to be a little bit more asynchronous about your offers and your timing for things. And you're going to have to realize that, I as a person, I'm going to buy one way, but I might also have a personal agent that is going to do other things for me. For me, I don't see, Amazon can kind of build this. I think they'll be able to build an agent that can go out and do some shopping. But I think agents are going to be highly personal for many people. And that's just going to impact how you think about, an extension of the individual rather than trying to market to a channel.
Yeah. So. I also think it will be interesting to see how agents evolve from a vertical agent perspective compared to a horizontal agent perspective, right? Like a vertical agent might be Rufus on Amazon, or Sparky on Walmart, or fill in the blank on any other brand that really builds its own vertical agent to help visitors to the site conversationally commerce with them. I think that will be a very different will take a very different shape in the future than the horizontal agents like a ChatGPT.
Yeah,
at least from a commerce perspective.
Yeah, agreed. I think you'll have a lot of different ways you can deploy agents in your business. You can use them effectively on your own site, et cetera, and of course internally as well.
Right.
How you manage your own business, customer service, those types of things. So
I
think it'll be exciting. It's a fun time for us. We love working in the product data space. It was boring a couple years ago. Now it's cool again. Everybody wants to talk about it, so we're back.
Yeah.
And I'm losing the mic. I'm so excited about it. But I appreciate you having me on here.
Cool. Awesome. Well, we'll wrap on that. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks to Ben and Channable for everything. Future episodes of Commerce Over Crack on the way.
Awesome.
Sláinte.
Thanks, Jay.